And welcome in everybody to a first of the season. We are talking about Fantasy Football Friday. So every Friday we'll be taking a look at Fantasy Football World, seeing some picks that we like, some starts, some sits, and a whole lot of other things going on in the world of fantasy football. Today we are a couple of weeks away from the start of the season, which means it is prime redraft league season. If you already started your leagues early, maybe some injuries, some starts, some sits are starting to bug you. But right now feels like the right time, right as preseason is wrapping up and we're getting closer to the regular season. So today we're going to focus on ADP or average draft position players that I really like, guys that you can get a very good value on where they are getting taken at. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first option we have, and things are gonna get real scary. We're gonna start with Terry McLaurin, receiver for the Commanders. Jahan Dotson just getting traded to the Eagles means even more opportunities. His ADP is at 67, and he is listed as receiver 28, which means in a 10-team league, you're getting him towards the back end of round 6 on average, with a lot of them I've seen even going later too. You can see the wide range that you have here as far as his best and worst from 36 to 106. There's a very wide range here. I do think he reminds me of last year of DJ Moore, the receiver who I basically gets out of quarterback purgatory. The guy who is he escapes having nothing at quarterback, finally gets something solid, something reliable, even remotely, or at least someone who's going to force feed in the ball, like you saw Justin Fields do with DJ Moore, and they explode. He has 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons and a 7 touchdown season before that. So he has been almost QB proof. It's just a bit of a roller coaster ride 'cause you never know when they're actually gonna throw on the ball. One week he'll give you 20, the next week he'll give you 5. This year, I think with Jane Daniels at quarterback, you have Cliff Kingsbury as the head coach as well. Terry McLaurin is gonna show up and show out. I think he's gonna get a lot of the same role that DeAndre Hopkins saw when Cliff was in Arizona, which is gonna be a lot of one-on-ones, a lot of targets, a lot of opportunities. And really, who else is Jaden gonna throw to? De'Ami Brown, Luke McCaffrey. There's still some improvements, but Terry McLaurin is as proven as it gets, and he's been a good fantasy receiver already. I just think now he's gonna not overall receiver one, but if he is the number one receiver on your team, I think he is going to be very that could still be a pretty good team where in the past it was a little bit shaky. So give me Scary Terry as my first ADP standout slash sleeper. Next, we're gonna go to the running back position, and Gus Bus it is, heading from Baltimore to the opposite coast in Los Angeles, joining up with Harbaugh and rejoining with Greg Roman as the offense coordinator. Right now, his ADP is at about 113. You can see he's running back 37. But what I want to point out on here too is strength of schedule on paper for a running back is fourth easiest. So he's going to have a lot of opportunities. We know Harbaugh is going to run the ball. He's going to run the air out of it. I don't know if Gus is going to maybe get the most carries on the team. Depends if J.K. Dobbins is healthy. And I do like Kamani Vital, the young rookie running back. So I think it's going to be a committee. But we saw it last year in Baltimore. Gus Edwards is going to get burned around the red zone. Once they get inside that goal to go area, he's going to get the ball and he's going to be a bust. He's Gus Bus for a reason. Do you take him as an RB1? No. Maybe an RB2? Probably not. As your flex option, more often than not, touchdown per week, plus a little bit in between, especially while we are waiting to see if JK is healthy, while we're waiting to see Vidal make moves. As a running back 37, a guy you can get in a 10-man league, you're getting him basically at the end of your draft. This feels, I don't want to say a steal, but it feels like a very, very good pick that doesn't have a lot of downside because you're getting him so late in the draft anyway. And his upside is perennial touchdown score or ridiculous amounts of touchdowns. Think Jamal Williams a couple of years ago when he's with the Lions and getting the ball in that offense like Dave Montgomery's doing. I think Gus Edwards can get a lot of similar feel here with the Harbaugh offense. Next, we're going to go to the quarterback position. And if you followed us at all, you kind of know I'm already high on this guy as well. We all should be. We got the return of Kyler Murray. What worries me out of the gate, we'll get that done, is that 28th strength, QB rank strength of schedule. I think a lot of that is just being in a division with the 49ers, as well as the Seahawks and the Rams, some relatively good defenses. The Rams will see a little bit different look because they don't have Aaron Donald terrorizing quarterbacks this year. But average draft position of 71 for ADP. He is listed as QB7, yet of all the quarterbacks in the top 10, he has the lowest ADP. All the three quarterbacks that are ranked lower than him, 8, 9, and 10, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. They all get taken higher than him. So there's not a lot of faith in Kyler Murray. I understand not having faith in the Cardinals. They were rough last year and the year before that. When Kyler Murray is healthy, he is a quintessential fantasy dual threat quarterback who regularly finishes, if not in the top 10, around. He averaged about 24 fantasy points per game last year. He was QB2 in scoring behind only Josh Allen during the time that he played, as you can see there. his ability to be a good complete he's a good passer, a good runner, and a good playmaker. He does everything really well. And I think Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, he's got some weapons. James Conner, Trey Benson. There's a lot to like there. So look for Kyler Murray to have a little bit of a, I don't want to say resurgence, but if you take him as your QB1 and at ADP 70, so you get him at the end of round 6 or the top of round 7 in a 10-man league, and that's your QB1, imagine what you could fill out in the earlier rounds. You can get both running backs, both receivers, a flex, and a tight end at that point, give or take. Like, you could really fill out your roster, then go grab Kyler Murray as your QB. And I don't want to say the sky's the limit, but I think he could win you your fantasy league if you're able to build around him in those previous rounds. So look out for Kyler Murray as an ADP steal at quarterback. Next up, we're going to go with the receiver that I have been avoiding during all of my mocks leading up to this point, but at the way things have transpired now, I think he is worth taking a look at. We're going to go with Rashee Rice, the receiver from Kansas City. The reason I was kind of avoiding is we don't know what's going to happen with the driving incidents and potential suspensions. It looks like that has been pushed to the after the season. By all intents and purposes, all reports that I saw, it looks like he's pretty much good to go for this season. We'll evaluate moving forward, but an ADP is 77, so kind of in the same range as Kyler at the back end of that 7th round, receiver number 29. He was Patrick Mahomes' number 1 target last year outside of Travis Kelce. I think this year, if he didn't have the suspension looming, he'd be going even higher. Xavier Worthy is going to take a few targets here or there because he just the fun they're going to have with that 4.23 speed. They're going to have way too much fun with that. But Hollywood Brown going down, I think, is going to open things up a lot for Rashee Rice as well. He's 24. He's 6'1", 204. He's also he's kind of like their yak guy is what he was last year. They throw a short and he'd make some stuff happen after the catch. I do think when Hollywood is back with Xavier Worthy, they're going to be stretching the field while Rashee Rice works underneath and Travis Kelce in the intermediate area. So I do think there's a lot of chance here for Rashee Rice to get some of those underneath targets multiple times, especially if a team's going to play too high. They're going to sag off basically and say, like, all right, you're not going to beat us over the top like they did with early career Patrick Mahomes when he had Tyreek Hill in squad. Dink and dunk. Rashee Rice with 9 catches for 90 yards, maybe a touchdown could be a regular thing going on. Receiver strength of schedule 23rd, not good, not bad, but he has Patrick Mahomes a quarterback. You can see his best to worst, 31 to 114. It's a very wide range in part because of suspension, but it looks like he's going to be good to go. And you're telling me I can get the receiver 1 on a Super Bowl contending team in round 7? He's going to be probably receiver 2 in your lineup, maybe even a flex type guy. However, he's going to get opportunities like a receiver. He's a receiver 1 in the offense. So I really like Rashee Rice here as someone you can get a little bit later and maybe could be you grab him to be a flex and then he ends up being your receiver number 2 or receiver 1 on how he performs. Maybe you get him and Terry back-to-back picks and you load up on running back and other things before that. There's a lot of opportunities here. As you can see, a lot of these guys you could grab in the same draft, and I think you'll be just fine. Which is going to take to the last guy we're going to look at today. We're going to go to the tight end position. We're going to go a little bit down the board. We're going to go with Cade Otton, the tight end from Tampa Bay. And before you click off the video, I know this isn't necessarily a win your league pick, is how I'm looking at it. This isn't like the other ones. This is Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce are going like round 2 and 3. Dalton Kincaid, Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, a lot of those guys Evan Ingram, they're going to go in like those mid rounds. Their ADP is kind of in the same area as Terry, Rashee, and those guys kind of in those mid rounds. If you miss out on those and then you miss out on that second layer with David Njoku, you can wait till ADP 188. So in a 10-man league, you're looking at pretty much your last pick in the draft or one of your last few picks. If he even gets taken at tight end 20, you might not even have to take him. You might be able to just pick him up afterwards or just grab him as needed. He's 25. He has 7 career touchdowns. He's not going to be a game breaker, but very few guys at the tight end spot are. As we mentioned, there's 3 to 5 at the top. They're getting drafted early. The rest of them, you're just hoping for a consistent 8 to 10 points with the occasional 14 when they score a touchdown here or there. You're not going to get Sam Laporta's 10 touchdowns or Travis Kelceing from every tight end. It's not a high volume scoring position. If you're telling me I can get Cade Otton at the very back of my draft, he might end up being my starting tight end. I can kind of avoid overreaching for some of those tight ends because I think if you want to get one of those, they're worth it. You want to get one of those, but you don't want to get a second tight end. You want to use that time to make some other picks. This is where you can get Cade Otton as your second tight end if you do get one of those other guys. And then you have someone that you can, if he balls out, you could plug him as a flex. If not, he can be capable during those weeks you maybe don't want to play Laporta or it's his bye week or gosh forbid something worse happens. So look for Kate on to if be an interesting tight end substitution, whether it's as a tight end two, a tight end one, or you know what, you just basically need another player. But I do think Hayden in that offense, Baker does like to throw those tight ends. We didn't see it as much last year, but he did still get them involved. And I do think the new offense that they'll be running this year with Canales going to Carolina, it won't be vastly different, but I do think there will be some more opportunities to see Otten involved as well. So this is what we're looking at for some ADP sleeper type picks, some guys that I really like where you can get them at their average draft position who can very much outperform that rank. Let me know down in the comments below who you think are some other guys I might not have mentioned or some guys that you think might, maybe they're going to underperform where they're drafted. And so you should look to take these guys over them. I appreciate y'all for watching, and we will see you all again next week for another episode of Fantasy Football Fridays.